Okay, Kenshi Harada. Harada basically came out and said, "Bro, we don't know if people actually want a classic Tekken collection." And okay, this is gonna be a short video, but what do you mean? Yes, we do want to collect a classic collection. Yes, we do want these games back on modern hardware. Yes, we want this. How is this a thing that has to be questioned? I don't get this. Why do companies don't get this? It's free real estate. What are we doing? It's free money. All you have to do is take the old games and put them onto new like hardware. You don't even need to do a remaster. You don't need to do anything crazy. Capcom has showed us that hey, people have an interest in these games. The problem I have with Tekken is that Tekken doesn't really evolve as a game. It's more or less the same. It evolves as a game, but it doesn't really change as a game. Like take into account Street Fighter. Street Fighter 1, 2, 3. Street Fighter 1 to 2 is a very drastic different is a very different game. Street Fighter 2 and all its variations to Street Fighter 3 and Third Strike is a very big departure for what the games are. And if you look at Street Fighter 3 Third Strike to Street Fighter 4, very different again to the Alpha series to 5 and 6. 5 had V Shift, 6 doesn't. 4 had the that big move that you did, the impacts. 5 doesn't have them. 6 brought them back with the things, I forget the names, but with the smashes, right? They have that. 6 is an agglomeration of everything. Tekken in this on this corner doesn't really evolve as a game. It more or less has more like, oh, so Harada, so like someone like Paul can do a 1 plus like 3. Oh, but I can do a 1 plus 3 into a grab, for example. Like that's not probably a real move, but just for an example, that's what these characters can do. And then you get like different things like rage, then you get rage drive, then you get heat now, and it's just more of an evolution of these games. However, it'll be really nice to still have these games because a lot of the because for preservation's sake, they don't exist. The problem with Tekken 4 and 5, in my opinion, is how bad it looks on the PS. How bad it looks like on the PS2 because of the blur. Like it's part of the charm, but I don't like it. 5 also had like a Dark Resurrection, Dark Fate, I think, for the PSP, and it was on the PS3, and it was the best version of that game. But there's no significant way to actually play it unless you have a PS3, and if you're willing to buy it now, like buying it again, and knowing that you're only gonna get like maybe two, maybe one person online to even fight against. So I think these games do need I think they need a collection, like maybe a cheap like £40 collection for 1 to 5 plus the PSP games will be fun to have. Modders have gone out of the way to get Street Fighter to get Tekken 5, I think 5. I know they got Tekken 6 and they got Tag 2 to be online again. And they're pretty fun to get working, but how many people are actually going to go out of the way to do that, because it is quite a setup to do. um but anyway, just looking at it, Harada feels like the old games aren't as impressive anymore. It's not about being impressive, it's about like knowing that we have them. It's about, and then also if you do have them, it'll be fun to see the games evolve as you play them, because you do like crazy moon jumps in the first one, and then in the second one the moon jumps are back, but you get like you get actual 3D movement. And then Tekken 3 is like when the game starts becoming like on its own. That's where the franchise really popped off. And then Tekken 4 had the walls and the floors, and people hated how the stages worked. And then Tekken 5, they made it good again. Then Tekken 6, they brought in the rage. And then Tekken 7, they brought in the rage arts. And it's like, it's a fun thing to view and see when they get how the games evolve. And it'll be nice to have those game modes again, like Tekken Bull, Tekken Jin Story Mode. These things don't exist in Tekken 8, and I doubt they will. And there's no real way to play or see these unless if you go through emulation. Yes, you can buy these games, but really, who's gonna be going to get, I don't know how many people are actually going to go out of the way, buy a PS2, put Tekken 5 in and play it, or like do emulation. Like emulation is perfectly fine. I do it. I think more people should do it, but like a lot of people don't, and I don't understand that mindset. But still, I think this would be fantastic. Anyway, let's just read what Harada says, and then we can just get into it. It's different from 2D fighting games because 3D fighting games tend to play the last installment, says Murray, translating for Harada. Starting from early days, it was polygon character models that really pushed the edge of graphics at the time. So when you see it later on, it's not nearly as impressive as it used to be. 2D fighting games come because they were just sprite characters and stuff. They don't seem to age graphically that much, and that's not the main reason people play in the first place. Murray gives his own reasons, sounding slightly more open to the idea, with some caveats. If it was a drastic different gameplay change like Tag 2 compared to 7 or 8, maybe that's something I would probably pick up and play for a little bit, or maybe the Tekken Force mode or Devil Within or something like that, he says. But I wouldn't ever see myself picking up Tekken 3 and playing against friends for an extended period of time. So yeah, there's a difference we feel between 3D fighters and 2D fighters in that respect. I disagree. I think it'll be nice to have just for preservation's sake, and they should consider it because, like Soul Calibur, for example, Soul Calibur is such a funny series because unlike Tekken, it's not a series that continued getting better and better with one game maybe stifling it down. Soul Calibur is a series that like started off with Soul Blade, which was almost insignificant, right? Soul Calibur 2 came out, people loved that shit, and they still play that game to this day. Soul Calibur 3 came out, people are like, it's alright. Soul Calibur 4 kind of like was worse than 3 because of the movement, and it's just, but the licensing characters, the Star Wars characters really made it. Then Soul Calibur 5 came out, it was like in a better direction than 4 in terms of gameplay, but it was significantly worse in terms of roster. Then Soul Calibur 5, the exact same thing but better gameplay and then worse roster. Then 6 came out, best gameplay, best roster, but because of low sales due to ban, well, I say low sales, it sold like 2 million, and I had the season 2. And then but then like after that, Namco just didn't see the reason of having continuing it, and so they canceled it. They just killed it off. um it's just so weird, but yeah. And that's a series that does need to come back more than Tekken, in my opinion. But having a Tekken collection could be fun, and I hope they see that people do want it, regardless if it's like maybe 1,000 people, because I can't imagine it's gonna be super difficult to work on. But hey, maybe I'm not a developer, so what do I know? Hey, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, their reasoning is sound. Who will play the old games? Because I significantly doubt many. But for a preservation's sake, I would like it. I would like it to come back. But that's it, in it. Woo! My voice is gone. I did so many videos today. All right, take care.